Hope from Crafty Hope here, and welcome. I am about to pull my Crafty Hope prompts for week 23. If you know what I'm talking about, welcome back. I appreciate you coming and seeing what's going on. If you are new here and don't know what I'm talking about, I decided at the beginning of October to start working on building a prompt deck. And this is what I have made so far. That is 22 weeks of prompts. I'm pulling 3 prompts a week from this jar of prompts. I have a full list below of those 156 prompts that you are welcome to use, or you can use the prompts that I use. What I am doing is on Monday, I am pulling the 3 prompts and sharing them with you, and then altering a regular old playing card. Then on Saturday, I do another project that involves those same 3 prompts in some way. I say it's a larger project, but it could be another card, it could be a tag, an art journal page, a junk journal page, whatever. But for now, it's time to pull our prompts and alter a card. So let's get to it. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. If you do play along, use that hashtag CraftyHopePrompts either on whatever social media. I don't use TikTok, but Instagram is really always the best way to go. Twitter, I will likely see it, but I do ask that tag me. I'm at Crafty Hope almost everywhere, and that makes it easier for me to find you if you tag me. Sometimes those algorithms don't show me all of the people that use the hashtags. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Okay, let's pull some prompts. I am going to move this stuff out of the way. Alright, I may have to zoom out in a bit, but for now, let's see. Ooh, that feels like 2. Alright, our first prompt is twine. So that, it can be interesting. So twine is, you know, there's regular old kitchen twine, or there's jute twine, or I think you can either you could even use it as an action of twining things together. So that's a pretty easy one. If you don't have any kind of like I said, jute twine or kitchen twine, you can use embroidery floss or some kind of yarn or string or whatever you've got that instead of twine. Just kind of use the word twine to inspire your direction, even if you don't have that exact material. Okay. There's twine. Next one is going to be gouache paints. Okay, y'all. I have 2 collections of gouache paints. One I haven't even opened, I think, that I got on clearance. The other one I bought online, and it's that Hemi brand one. You'll see them here. I'll probably pull them both out. But all a gouache is like an opaque watercolor. So if you don't have gouache paints, maybe water down some acrylic paints, or use your watercolors, or do some kind of gouache effect on something. When I created this list of prompts, I was putting in things that I have on hand that that I use, and some things I don't use, to encourage me to use the stuff I've got. So, and I have been. These cards are really pushing my limits. Last week when I had to use the embossing powder, that was fun. You can see this card I'll put a link to, and then later in this video somewhere I'll put a link to the project where I also used embossing powder. But okay, so that twine and gouache. All right. I'm thinking. Let's see how bad number 3 is going to be. Number 3 is book text. Okay, that is fairly easy. I can use book text. You can use any kind of book. You can get a novel, or an old phone book, or some kind of whatever. Just a book. And pull out some text. So you can use specific text like found words, or just have book pages that are in the background. So I'm trying to think what I thought when I wrote the words book text and not book page, and it's probably to pull out some words. So that will likely be what I do. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to clear this stuff off, gather my twine, gouache, and some book pages, and be back in just a second, and we're going to alter a card. Okay, y'all, I have pulled things together and I have to admit to you, I stepped away for 24 hours to think about these things and I have an idea, but it's going to be completely experimental. So first, let me tell you what I've gathered. For twine, I gathered my jute and kitchen twine. This is just some cotton twine. These I think are probably both bought at the dollar store. And then it hit me, baker's twine. So I have this jar of all kinds of different colors. Baker's twine also from the dollar store. So those are the twines I believe I'm going to work with. We'll get to the rest of it in a second. Gouache paints. So I have this set that I bought online. It's, yeah, I may have used it in a video or two before. I think, ooh, there was a mixed media menagerie last year that called for gouache. So I have it. I've got it in this press and seal stuff to keep it even more sealed than this does. But I also, and I probably won't use it because like I said, it's unopened, this tube gouache set from Hobby Lobby. I got it on clearance and for now it's in the tubes, it's sealed. I kind of want to keep it that way, so I'll probably just work with my open set. But I wanted to tell you what I have and the different ways that gouache comes. So and then book text, the easiest of them. I pulled out some dictionary text. I think I got the pages that say create and creativity, I believe, just because, you know, those are book words I want. And then I've got a couple novel pages, one large print, one small print, if I want to look for like a fun phrase to throw on there. So let me, all right, I'm going to tell you what my idea is. Let me gather these. Where's my paper clip? For twine, I thought about this because it, for some reason, is the hard one for me. And I kind of want to try weaving something. So I've never done this before. So this is totally experimental. I've got a piece of cardboard here that I think I'm going to cut down to a fairly small size. So let's say... oof. That's okay. So we're gonna say maybe I want it smaller than my card. So I'm gonna say like that, and then I'm gonna put some slits on the ends. This may not work at all, y'all. I'm trying to line these slits up a little bit so things aren't too wonky. Okay, this again may not work. So I've cut 6 slits there and 6 slits here. And I'm going to start with my jute twine as my general base of this. And I'm going to insert it. Ooh, this is, yeah, maybe I should have gone farther apart. So I am going to just insert this, wrap it around the back, go into the next slit and up and around. Get this. Oh, I've got some project floss that's getting in the way. So into the next slit and up. And the slits may not have been necessary. It's just kind of how I was thinking about it. And these are already, you can see, kind of far apart and wonky. And so, it's an experiment, right? If we don't try new things, we will never learn. Did I cut more slits on one side? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't know what I did. I guess I don't need as many on one side as I need on the other. How is that possible? Did I skip one? Oh, y'all, I don't even know. Okay, well, are we going to do that? Or am I going to cut another slit? I'm going to cut another slit because I don't know what I did. Somehow I have missed one. Or used one that was there that wasn't supposed to be there or something. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. And I think I'm going to just, for my security, go ahead and tie this on the back. And y'all, I was going to try to watch videos on weaving, and I looked it up, but everybody has like a weaving loom, and I don't. So, I thought, well, we're gonna try this. All right. So I think the rest of this video, I'm going to speed this up and talk you through what I'm doing. How about that? From here, I'm just going to weave, y'all. I'm taking that kitchen twine first and basically just going over, under, over, under. And you can see I'm pulling out a long length of it and using the other end to just go back the other way. So where I went over, under, I'll go under, over. And that's all I said in my head over and over again was over, under, over, under. So this probably would have been easier had I had, oh, what do they call it? I had the word in my head when I was doing this, but it's, oh, I can't think of it. Anyway, like on a needle or something to help direct it so I wasn't just using the loose thread. So once I got a little bit of that kitchen twine on there, you can see I'm bringing in the baker's twine and just going across once and then back across. And I'm leaving the ends hanging. Now I'm going to do, I think, just a little pass of the twine in there. And again, I'm leaving all of these ends just kind of hanging, which gets to be a little bit, I don't know, tangled here in the end. But I'm going to do a line or two of the kitchen twine, and then I'll repeat the same pattern I did above below. So you'll see I'm just going to take what's hanging off from the baker's twine above and use that to weave the next lines below, and just repeat that without cutting any more of that. So here, yeah, I'm coming back in with the baker's twine and weaving that back in. And I'll repeat the same pattern below. So we're going to skip ahead on this. And you can see this is where I finish. I'm going to go ahead and cut where I've knotted it. And then right in the center of the back. And take it off my little cardboard loom that I created. And trim. Some of those were still on the rolls. So I took that off. And I thought maybe I would tie at the tops of that jute twine, but I don't know, things felt real wonky that way. So I'm going to untie that and go ahead and instead tie those edges. So I'll start with the two lengths. I'm going to trim this down just a little bit to take away all of that excess. But I'm tying the bottom and top to the kitchen twine because it's all on the same side there. I could have taken across the back and tied it with something else, I suppose. But again, this was all an experiment for me. So I tied that kitchen twine, but then with these other two, I'm going to tie like one end of the baker's twine to one end of the jute twine, just because they were next to each other. And this is just me finishing up the ends. They end up, you can see some of these knots in my finished product, but I'm not super concerned about it. This is something I can try again later and figure out how to do it without having all of this craziness. I encourage you to take something and, something you've been thinking about trying and just do it because, like I said before, you'll never learn something if you don't just go ahead and do it. This is my year of being brave and, trying new things. So that's what I did. Oh, I didn't get that other knot. So once I've got that all woven and done, I think I'm going to trim down a little bit of that excess of that jute twine above and below just because it's so wily. And to secure it, I'll grab a piece of I wanted something to stabilize the back of it, so I've got some watercolor paper that I had used in another project as a scrap that was sitting off to the side, and I'm going to trim it down and use my Fabri-Tac to glue that watercolor paper to the back of the container. I'm thinking about my container Fabri-Tac to the back of the weaving. And I'll put that aside while it is drying and finally start to work on the actual card. Now I'm keeping the rest of this fairly simple because that was so complex. And I'll go straight in with a piece of scrap paper I've got. It is book paper. I don't know that I want to consider it book text because the text itself is numbers and not actual words and text. So I don't know. I'll have text brought in a couple other ways here, but if you want to consider just some book paper as text, go for it. That again, use these words to inspire you. If you don't have the actual thing, use that phrase, that prompt to just lead you to something else in your stash that makes you think of that thing. It doesn't have to be the actual thing. So I'm going to use this whole scrap to just collage down, cover up that whole card. I've mentioned it before, but these cards are like laminated, so they're super slick and not much sticks to them. So I like to add a bit of collage over the top of it. If you want to kind of retain the integrity of the card and see some of it, you can sand it down just a little bit or put some white or clear gesso on it instead of the collage. So yeah, I am using acrylic matte medium and a silicone spreader thing. It's for facial masks to do my card. I'm enjoying this process. And I also have that scraper tool to flatten out my paper so I'm not getting it all over my fingers. So that is all done, and I think I'm going to trim this down next. Yup. Just to get that excess paper on it, and from there I will bring in my gouache. So like I said before, I'm going to use that Hemi gouache. I will put a link to it, to that set, but it's a fun little set. I think they're called jelly gouaches. And first I'm going to trim out the definition of the word crafty, so that I know I have that book text to put on at least one side of my card. And I don't know why I did it in this order, but yeah. So are those gouache paints, and I'm going with this yellow ochre color. I'm just picking colors that I like from this set. And then there's this green color that I liked, and I'm just kind of blending those together a little bit and then doing some splatter because that's my jam. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of that yellow ochre splatter too. Yeah. And these were fun. I did spray all of those with water before I started just to kind of activate them because some of them were dry. And I decided I wanted to frame this up a little, so I'm using this brown. It's kind of I don't know what I'd call that color. I always get my siennas mixed up, the burnt sienna and burnt umber, and I don't know. But it's a brown. But you can see I just spread it around the edge and kind of blended it with my finger. It's not real obvious, but I think that kind of helps bring in the brown of this weaving. I decided I needed a little bit of more dark on the back of this, so I'll use my Stabilo All pencil just to scribble a little bit and then activate it with a wet paintbrush. Super simple. And then dry that. I think I'm going to, I'll dry that. And then I'm going to flip it over to the other side of my card because I don't want to add the weaving because it is kind of bulky until I get the other side done, because I know the other side's going to be less bulky. So I start with more of a grass green here, and I'm just putting it on there. And while I was thinking about how grassy and beautiful this is, it made me think of like springtime and flowers and that kind of thing. So I decided to try to, first I'm going to add some mark making. While all of that gouache is wet, I'm just putting my Stabilo All straight into that wet gouache and making some marks. And then, moving that wetness around with gravity. And then I will dry this. So, and like I said, I was thinking of spring and flowers, and I hadn't really done anything crazy or tried to draw anything with the gouache. So I'm going to, do some just little violet colored flowers on here to bring in a springtime feel. I like this kind of shade of purple and green together. This was my room in high school in the 90s was this color. My bedroom were this green and purple. They were my favorite combination of colors when I was in high school. So I went with that. I'll add a little bit of yellow in the center of them, and then I dried that. I moved everything off. Yeah. So now I still need to bring in the book text and the twine on this side. So what I'm going to do is use this Nuvo craft adhesive. I like the really fine tip on it, so that's why I'm using it to just draw a line that I'm going to stick some of that excess baker's twine that I cut off from the weaving. That was already on my desk. I didn't have to cut anything down. I probably could have chosen another color that would pop a bit more, but I'm trying to just use what I had that was sitting there. So I'm just using this to frame up the side, and this is going to be the side that I add my prompts onto for the prompt card. So next thing I do while that is drying is cut down my words. Now, and I decide while I'm cutting this, there's that crafty that I know I'm going to add on this side, so I have the book text. But while I'm cutting them down, with the gouache paints prompt, I decided to cut off the paints portion of it because gouache is a paint. It's kind of oxymoronic to say gouache paints. So, yeah, it's just, I guess when I typed that up, I was reminding myself that gouache was a paint. I don't know. So, you don't have to keep that paints portion. Like I said, it feels kind of oxymoronic. Once I got that cut down, I will use my Oohoo glue stick. Y'all, so many adhesives in this. I apologize. I like all my different, I try to use the thing I need that will work best, I suppose. Use the materials that will work best. So I'm going to stick those down on one of the green portions because it felt like those white strips would pop a little bit better on those. I guess I could have inked the edges of it, but yeah. Same with this little strip of dictionary paper. This is my functional side. I'm not super concerned. I just want to get all of my prompts down on there. And I did. So it's time to flip over to the other side here. First, I'm going to look for a book text word to put on my weaving. And I find the word enchanting in this large print book text. And I kind of knew that I wanted to find just one word. And this was, kind of a perfect word. So I'll go ahead and I'm trying to remember which order I do this. I'll grab not the 6000. I'm going to grab my Fabri-Tac again and go ahead and put it on that piece of watercolor paper that's holding everything together and glue that down. And then since the Fabri-Tac is out, I'll go ahead and I'm gluing to that jute twine. So I'll go ahead and stick all that down, and I'm looking at it, and I decided it needed a little bit more of a frame. So I've got this Sharpie, I think it's a 0.5 roller ball pen that I'm just going to messily frame it up the edge and then write my number 23 for week 23 on the other side. And that's it for this one. Again, the twine had me a little bit befuddled, but I am so thrilled that I tried something a little bit different for me. Look how neat that is. Alright guys, if you like this, make sure to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. And now I got to come up with something for my project. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see y'all later. Bye.